All right, kicking off another brand new hour here of the Steve Gruber Show. Glad to have you here for the conversation, my friends. A lot to cover here today, and I'm glad you're along for the conversation. Who do you want in your foxhole? It's a question we ask here every day. It's a serious question. We're living in the foxhole of freedom here, fighting for you and fighting for freedom every single day. Here are three big things you need to know right now. Number one, Cash Patel and company have found the smoking gun, the burn bags of evidence inside the FBI they were trying to get rid of. We've got the burn bags. Number two, the movement across the country continues as there is a push now in Texas to make sure only American citizens are voting in elections. Only American citizens. That's really important. And number three, the facts are piling up. The facts are piling up against Barack Obama and everybody on down in this scandal that is only growing and will not go away. And despite the best efforts of the media that have been pulverized, by the way, you know, the media tried to destroy Donald Trump. David and Goliath, really, but David turned out to be Donald Trump, and the Goliath of the mainstream legacy media is getting crushed. CBS had to pay up. Others have had to pay up. Now there's a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit. It was CBS 60 Minutes. They had to pay up. ABC had to pay up. Don't worry, the New York Times and others are going to be paying up as well, as will the Wall Street Journal. Donald Trump has taken them to task. Oh, and he defunded NPR and PBS along the way as well, yanking out the liberals' favorite little talking heads. Yes, he's taken on the big media, and he has won. All right, so here we go. The facts are piling up against the Democrats from Barack Obama on down to Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer has been out there just saying anything. He'll say anything. I haven't heard from Bill O'Reilly in a bit, but, boy, he's an interesting voice, isn't he? And he had this to say about Chuck Schumer. Listen.
Schumer's lying. And I very rarely use that word. I usually say he's misleading or he's a propagandist, which he is. But he's just lying. He's just head down reading something that's been written for him by one of his propaganda people. And, you know, I used to have a decent relationship with him, and I run into him from time to time in New York. I have no respect for Charles Schumer. None. None. He doesn't love this country, in my opinion. He's not looking out for you or me or anybody else. He is a rank propagandist. And again, I don't use this kind of rhetoric. All right? I usually can see two sides to this story. You know that. This guy? Oof.
Oof. Oof. This guy? Oof. Remember, Chuck Schumer's the guy that threatened Donald Trump openly in early 2017. You mess with the intel community, they can get you 6 ways to Sunday. Yeah, Chuck, we remember, because you were part of that party. Ruthless power. That's what it's about, ruthless power. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what it's all been about for the Democrats ever since Donald Trump came down that escalator. Of course, they didn't take him seriously in 2015. A year later, they took him very seriously. So seriously, in fact, they lined up against him to undermine him, to destroy him, to play dirty tricks up and down the line. The Steele dossier, bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton, the cudgel that was supposed to destroy Donald Trump. Now he's been elected 3 times to the presidency, in my opinion. I wasn't sure of that at one point. I'm completely sure of it now. The facts are in. The evidence is there. It's indisputable. It's also indisputable that Russia had nothing to do with the Trump administration or the Trump election. Crossfire Hurricane was bogus. The evidence is in. And I played this in the last hour, but I want you to hear it again. John Solomon, my good friend, investigative reporter, says Barack Obama put himself in a bit of a corner here. Listen.
I want to address Obama for a second. I know President Trump has every right to be frustrated with him. I think President Trump's analysis last week was right. I think my immunity rule might protect him on the original charges. That's what most legal experts tell me, that ruling is so sweeping it will protect Obama for what he did in office. However, Barack Obama can now be summoned before a grand jury. He cannot take the Fifth Amendment because he has immunity from prosecution. He'll have to tell the truth. If he lies as a private citizen about what he did as president. He'll no longer have that immunity. And that is a trap that Obama is sitting potentially facing. And I want to say the irony to that, because on January 5th, 2017, he presided over a meeting in the White House where the FBI had just cleared Mike Flynn of any wrongdoing, and they schemed in that meeting how they might be able to jam up Mike Flynn. And they came up with the idea, we'll lure him into an interview, catch him into a lie, and then prosecute him that way. Barack Obama now is about to face a potential similar situation as the one he created unfairly for Mike Flynn.
And there you have it. Weighing in is John Solomon. Barack Obama. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, even though that's nothing you've ever done before in your entire life, so help you God? I do. Yeah. Meanwhile, President Trump says his thoughts on pursuing criminal charges against people like Barack Obama and those that conspired against him, well, his thoughts have changed on that. They have evolved clearly. Here he is.
Yeah. So, we had Hillary Clinton down to whatever we wanted to do with her, and I felt it was inappropriate. She's the wife of a president. She was a Secretary of State, and we could have done a very big number.
Yeah.
And I said, we don't want to be doing that. Let's, put it into the country and not the concept of putting her in jail, indicting her, all the things that you have to do. It's tough stuff. And I said, we don't want to do that. In fact, you remember I made speeches when I mentioned her name. They started lock her up. Yeah. And I said, no, this is after we won. We just won. And I said,
you wanted the country
we have to
heal.
get back to. We want to heal. And yet they did it to me.
Yeah.
So I feel differently. I mean, I'm a human being. I have my feelings too. And so I feel differently about it. Obama, what he did was terrible. What Brennan did and Clapper and Comey and all these lightweights, they're stupid people actually. But what they did, and so unnecessary. And they made it really hard. But ultimately, I don't know, they toughen you up. You either learn that you can do that. How many people could handle that?
Yeah.
I've had so many people said, how did you handle that every day? And they come up with these different scams. They're all scams, and they're still doing it. They're doing it now.
Yeah, they are doing it. They continue to do it. They never back up from it. They keep fighting and fighting and fighting and doing it dirty behind the scenes with bogus, if I may, trumped up charges to try to bring down the president who, by the way, I was reading a Never Trump article today. I'm going to share it with you a bit later. Never Trumpers having to admit, you know what? He's having a lot of success here. He's doing pretty well. Big deals with the EU, a border that is closed, trying to end wars every single day. How do you argue with any of those policies? You don't have to like the guy. But don't let your hatred blind you to what's been successful. And there's been a lot of success here in the first 6 months. I'll take a break and be back. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Nice to see you here today. It's Thursday. God bless America.